Hello my friends, welcome back to my garden. It's a beautiful sunny 70 something degree Friday and I stepped out just to do some simple tasks and I wanted to bring you with me. Just a little bit of attention every day, right? Like we said, just a little bit. And we're doing things like pulling out the weeds. I like to use hay as mulch. Hay. And it will tell you it's 99% weed free. However, I do see some grass. I see a substantial amount of weeds growing up. Substantial, that sounds really scary. That's not true. I think it's more than 99%, less than 99% weed free. But it works really well, and that's an important thing. When you're building your beds, every year you don't want to skip the important step. You can see hay, and you put the hay right over the seeds or right around the plants. And we're here today starting with our beautiful radishes. Do you remember them when they were babies and we were eating them as microgreens? And then also an update on the beets. Last time we were thinning out the beets, and I just thinned them out once more, leaving only the strongest ones. And this is what I got. And what I'm gonna do is cut these up and put them in my salad for dinner. One of these days I'll just share a salad making video. But today I want to give you some early care tips for your tomatoes, because my tomatoes are coming up. Look at this, so exciting. So I like to put my tomato plants, I buy my tomato plants from a local trusted nursery, and then I put them in the ground. Oh, hi little busy bee, maybe you can see that. I put them in a box along, let's see if we can span out, this trellis that I made. It's just easy. I think they're like 3/4 by 1 inch boards. I cut them down. I made a big trellis, and believe it or not, this little baby, these babies, there's one hidden there behind the radishes. We're just gonna pray for that one. These babies will climb up and beyond that. That's 8 feet up and beyond. So we'll just tie them, secure them up on the trellis as they go. So I'll put these babies in the ground, and I already did this one. The early care for this particular tomato plant, I'll tell you what I did. I trimmed off any stems below like the first little tomato stem, the first stem that's growing tomatoes. Let's get in there. There's another one here. That's fine. I'll leave it. But I'll trim it down, and then what I'll do is I'll hill it. I'll take more garden bed soil, really rich, maybe add some compost, just a little bit, make sure it's really broken down, because any compost, you don't want it necessarily directly touching the stem. And what I'll do is I'll pile it up a little bit higher on the stem, because if you've ever felt or seen it, right? Let's see if we can get a really good glimpse. You see those little hairs on the tomato? That is actually the plant reaching out like roots. It potentially can have roots. And if you put soil and water around those roots at the bottom, it will actually sprawl out and take up more nutrients, which is great for the plant. So that's what we're doing today. And you'll see right here we have this really big branch. I'm gonna snip off because it's not necessary. And this is just a sucker that got away from me. So trimming first, right? Trimming our baby tomatoes first. We want to trim off any suckers, which is this is the earliest version of it right here. They grow in the armpit of a branch and the main stem, and when they're little like that, I just pinch it off. Okay, this baby is almost ready to trellis. I'm gonna let her grow wild like she is, and then probably trellis her in a couple days. So let's go through that same task here with this big tomato plant. Tomato. Okay, so this baby is, let's see, this is a Jubilee tomato. Can you tell us more? Okay, let's see, maturity, 80 days to maturity, big, let's see here, great for juicing, slicing, and salads. All right, so as you can see, I'll just move that over there. As you can see, maybe, let's see, can we pop you out of here? Check this out. So this is what I mean. You see this little green shoot coming out of the armpit there? We're just gonna pinch it right off. That simple. Voila. If they grow a little bigger, you'll want to get in there with some sharp nippers. There's another one. You see him? Look at you. Alright, I've got my scissors. And nip him off. And then I just compost these. You wouldn't believe it. Sometimes the composted, oh, there's another one. The composted greens will take on a life of their own and become their very own tomato plant in the compost bin. It's amazing. So, oh, hi, another bee. That doesn't look like a friendly bee, so we just won't talk to that one. I really am glad we are doing this together. How are you? How are you out there? How's your garden? How's your garden of life? How are things going in your life? Okay, so this is a sucker, but you see how close it is to the ground? We're just gonna cut that off because we are gonna hill that up together. Let's get our hands in the dirt. I'm sorry. There we go. See those babies? Those baby hairs? We are gonna give that some more nourishment. How's the garden of your life doing? I want to share with you this beautiful practice. I don't know how it came to me, it just did. I shared this with my daughter, and it's actually a way that we will check in with each other sometimes. It came to me one day. I have a hard time seeing the landscape of my life. You know what? I just did my nails. Let's put some gloves on. I have a hard time seeing the landscape of my life sometimes as it is. Feeling the metaphor, the bigness, the macrocosm sometimes because the pieces are so potent. You know, a relationship with my mother, my work situations, and I love my work. I love my work so much. It's actually just deeply fulfilling. But the totality of my life, it's hard for me to check in with the totality of my life sometimes. I think I need to trim this one because she keeps touching the ground. Because, I don't know, I just do. How am I doing? Well, that's a mixed bag. And the bigness of that would make it very hard for me to check in, to take the temperature of the generality of my life. And so I had this vision that I began to imagine my life as a garden. A flower garden, all the garden, all the gardening goods. That was my garden. How is my garden doing? And I was able to see a little bit clearer because that is how my mind works. That's how I'm hoping to share that with you guys here. My mind works where I can see that, oh man, okay, my flowers, my roses over there are a little wilty. They're thirsty. And over there, the weeds have come up. The weeds being, of course, metaphorically, something that I don't want in my life, or maybe that I need to change, remove. It needs attention, right? And so I brought this to my daughter, and she too really connected with it. It helped her have clarity in when she checks in with her own self. How am I feeling? How am I? How am I? So I would ask her, how's your garden, baby girl? Sometimes she would say, it's good. Wow, it's really good. Thank you for asking. Yeah, all of my flowers are really bloomy. Everything's so colorful, she'll say. Or sometimes she'll say, whoa, it's kind of dry. It's really dry and a lot of brown stuff. And the reason why I really appreciate that as a check-in tool is because it pans it out. It speaks a language I understand. It helps to, look, we're all human, right? We're all human having the human experience. But golly gee, can we get wrapped up in that? We're more than human. We are more than human. We are nature. And we thrive just like a garden, right? We can check in with ourselves like we would check in with our garden. What has been neglected. Look at that. Look how happy she is nestled in there. And then, of course, I put the hay back on, and just to make sure we remember how many days to harvest, put that little tag right back. Beautiful. What do you think? Are you available for one more tomato? Here we go. Right in front of the tomato is my carrots. I can't believe it. I just can't believe it. They're coming up. So when the garden is doing good, right? When our inner garden is doing good. Let's get another angle, can we? Sorry about the view of compost. When our inner garden is doing good, oh, doesn't it feel good? Check in. Doing great. What have I been doing that feels so healthy? And then you just kind of use that as a guideline, a guidepost. The ever-moving, transient guideposts of our living miraculous lives. Just like a garden. What did I do last year to make these tomatoes grow up so big? Well, here comes a good metaphor. I took the time and invested energy in creating a strong, stable structure that they could climb up on. Yeah. All right. I lost my glove. There it is. Okay. Took my glove off so that I could just pinch off these suckers. This is working out real good. Alrighty, that looks good. We're going to trim off down here a couple of these, and these will go into the compost. Beautiful. I think that's all we'll need to trim off. This last little sucker here. Sucker. Alright, baby. All right, we're going to move, once again, just one last demonstration. We're going to move all of this hay out of the way. You can see we've got another little guy down there. And you see her, oh my goodness, down there all bare. Look at that leg. We're going to cover that up. So before we say goodbye, as we were wrapping this up, look how easy this was. Just 15 minutes every day. That's all it needs, right? And that's all that we can apply that to life. Our lives. Just to check in here and there. Just to check in, how is my heart feeling? How is my character, right? How have I been participating in my life and in the troubles that I have? Because I do want to say, missing the mark, that very first sin, right? That very first thing we do that is outside of good character will spin off into more trouble, right? So if you lie or are deceitful or sort of manipulate something or neglect something, it will have offshoots of more consequences. So you can't be surprised if you do something that is of poor character or neglect something. You can't be surprised when it's there waiting for you worse than before. And that's really important. So how is my garden doing? How does my garden look? Is it nourished? Does it need anything? Is it happy? Black Prince. Heirloom tomatoes. I don't know which one I'm more excited about. I'm so excited about all of these. It's going to be amazing. How's my garden doing? And then visualize it. Close your eyes. And then what does it need from you? All right, I'm going to give these babies a good water. Make sure that that soil is nice and wet and moist. You can hear the sprinkler going. And I want to say thank you for joining me in the garden. And tonight when I'm making my salad with beet greens, I'm going to be thinking about all of you. Blessings.